Today, I invite you once again on a journey to the heart of Indian spirituality to discover a deity both formidable and benevolent. Shiva, the Lord of Transformation. In Hinduism, Shiva is not just a single, fixed god. He is a living force, an energy that takes multiple forms, depending on the times, the needs, and the souls who pray to him. The forms of Shiva, between peace and power. Shiva is not a god frozen in a single image. He manifests in different forms, sometimes peaceful, sometimes formidable, sometimes completely abstract. Each manifestation of Shiva reveals a unique aspect of his divine personality, illustrating the complexity of his being and the diversity of his roles in the functioning of the universe. These forms are not simply aesthetic. They embody profound spiritual truths, universal archetypes, and serve as a guide for the faithful on their own inner journey. The best known and most peaceful form is that of Shiva the Yogi, or Mahayogi. In this incarnation, Shiva is depicted seated in deep meditation, usually high in the Himalayas, particularly Mount Kailash, considered his eternal home. He is the master of yoga, the one who has transcended body, mind, and desires. His inner gaze, perfect stillness, and absolute serenity inspire those seeking inner peace, self-mastery, and spiritual liberation, moksha. In this form, Shiva teaches through silence, by example. He embodies renunciation, self-knowledge, and the path to awakening. In contrast to this motionless and silent image is Shiva Nataraja, the Lord of Dance. This dynamic and powerful representation shows Shiva dancing the Tandava, the cosmic dance that maintains the balance of the universe. Every gesture, every movement of Nataraja has a meaning. One of his hands creates, another destroys, another blesses. He dances in a circle of fire, a symbol of transformation, representing the energy that animates the world. Beneath his feet, he crushes a demonic dwarf, a symbol of ignorance and ego, thus demonstrating his victory over the forces that prevent awakening. Nataraja embodies the eternal movement of the universe, where creation, preservation, and destruction are not separate, but part of a single infinite flow. Another, darker and more formidable form is Bhairava, meaning the terrible or the dreaded. Bhairava is the warrior and destructive aspect of Shiva, the one who appears when the forces of evil must be decisively eliminated. He is often depicted with a fierce face, burning hair, and surrounded by funerary symbols. Bhairava is particularly revered as a spiritual protector, capable of destroying illusions, fears, and negative energies. In some tantric traditions, he plays a central role in the destruction of the ego and the liberation of consciousness. His energy is formidable, but it is also liberating. Among the most profound and symbolic forms is Ardhanarishvara, which means the half-woman lord. In this representation, Shiva and Parvati are united in a single body, divided vertically, half man, half woman. This unique form symbolizes the unity of the masculine, Shiva, and feminine, Shakti principles. It reminds us that duality is an illusion, that all that exists is the fruit of the union between consciousness, Shiva, and energy, Shakti. Ardhanarishvara embodies the perfect balance between action and silence, strength and gentleness, stability and creativity. He teaches that inner harmony can only be achieved by integrating the two poles of being. Other forms of Shiva, such as Dakshinamurti, the silent master, Veerbhadra, the celestial warrior, and Agara, the transcendent aspect of death, further enrich this divine mosaic. Each form fulfills a particular spiritual need, allowing worshippers to connect with a specific facet of the divine according to their own journey. Thus, whether seated in meditation, dancing in the heart of flames, or uniting opposites in a single form, Shiva is always a guide, a mirror of the universe and the human soul. By exploring his multiple forms, we discover that Shiva is not only a god to be worshipped, but also a path to follow, an experience to be lived, a living presence in each person's heart. Shiva in sacred texts, from Rudra to cosmic consciousness. The figure of Shiva is omnipresent in Hindu tradition, and his importance is reflected in a wide variety of sacred texts, ranging from the oldest Vedic hymns to mythological epics, as well as philosophical and spiritual treatises. Each text reveals a particular facet of Shiva, allowing us to better understand the richness and depth of this god, both formidable and benevolent. In the Vedas, the oldest religious texts of India, dating from around 1500 BC, Shiva does not yet appear under this name. He is found in the form of Rudra, a wild and feared god, associated with storms, wind, lightning, and destruction. Rudra is implored to appease his anger, but also to grant healing, as he is capable of both wounding and healing. These ambivalent prayers already demonstrate the dual nature of this god, destroyer and purifier, bringer of death but also of regeneration. It is from this image that the character of Shiva develops over time. In the Upanishads, the major philosophical texts of Hinduism, Shiva is less an external deity than an inner, cosmic reality. He is often identified with Atman, the universal self, and Brahman, the absolute reality that underlies the universe. Shiva appears as pure consciousness, beyond name and form, the principle that transcends dualities. He thus becomes the symbol of the perfect yogi, the silent sage, and the one who has attained unity with all. In this vision, Shiva is not only a divine figure, but a living presence within every human being. The Puranas, which are collections of legends and myths dating from the post-Vedic period, from the 4th century onward, offer a much richer and more detailed image of Shiva. These texts are essential for understanding how devotion to Shiva has evolved in popular and religious culture. The Shiva Purana is entirely devoted to him. It recounts his birth, his heroic exploits, his spiritual teachings, his union with the goddess Parvati, and his interventions in the world to restore cosmic order. These stories, often colorful, are told in temples, sung during religious festivals, and meditated upon by devotees as sources of wisdom. In the great Hindu epics, Shiva also plays a central role. In the Mahabharata, he appears as a powerful ally of the heroes, particularly Prince Arjuna, to whom he grants a divine weapon called the Pashupatastra, after testing it in combat. This episode underscores the idea that Shiva rewards sincere devotion and protects Dharma, that is, the moral and spiritual order of the universe. Shiva is seen as both a formidable warrior and a spiritual master. In the Bhagavad Gita, one of the most important texts of Hinduism, although the main protagonist is Krishna, Krishna refers to Shiva as the greatest of yogis, the one who has achieved perfection in meditation, inner discipline, and mastery of the senses. This recognition of Shiva by Krishna himself reinforces his supreme spiritual authority in the Hindu tradition. Throughout all these texts, Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, epics, Shiva thus appears as a universal figure. He is at once the god of destruction and rebirth, the master of yoga, the implacable judge, the protector of devotees, the healer, the philosopher, the divine husband, and cosmic consciousness itself. This multiplicity of roles reflects the richness of the Hindu tradition and makes Shiva a particularly accessible and deeply inspiring Shiva's divine family, between love, wisdom, and power. In Hinduism, the figure of Shiva is not isolated. He is part of a profoundly symbolic divine family, whose members embody the essential forces of life, the universe, and spirituality. This family is not merely a mythological representation. It is also a source of inspiration for millions of devotees, as it expresses values of balance, complementarity, and wisdom. Parvati, Shakti, the divine energy. At the heart of this family is Parvati, Shiva's consort. She is much more than a simple goddess consort. She embodies Shakti, that is, the primordial feminine energy, the force that animates everything in the universe. Without Shakti, even a god like Shiva, representing pure consciousness, would remain inactive. Together, they symbolize the union of the feminine and the masculine, of energy and consciousness, of action and silence. Parvati is also associated with fertility, devotion, beauty, inner strength, and transformation. She has taken on several forms throughout the texts: Durga, the warrior goddess; Kali, the destroyer of evil; and Annapurna, the nurturer. In her role as Parvati, she embodies the gentle and patient wife, capable of calming Shiva's anger and fury, as he is often immersed in meditation or in states of heightened consciousness. Their relationship exemplifies a deep, respectful, and complementary love, as well as a shared spiritual path. Ganesha, the god of beginnings. From their union was born Ganesha, one of India's most beloved gods. He is immediately recognizable by his elephant head and large belly, symbolizing abundance. Ganesha is the god of wisdom, knowledge, good fortune, and above all, new beginnings. Before any undertaking, a wedding, a trip, an exam, or even building a house, Ganesha is prayed to for the removal of obstacles and the granting of success and protection. His birth is surrounded by numerous legends. One of the most famous tells of Parvati, who, in Shiva's absence, created Ganesha from clay to guard her door while she bathed. Not recognizing him, Shiva, furious at being blocked, cut off his head. Upon learning the truth, he brought him back to life with the head of the first animal he encountered, an elephant. This story illustrates both the imperfection of the gods and their capacity to repair their mistakes with love and compassion. Kartikeya, the heavenly warrior. The second son of Shiva and Parvati is Kartikeya, also called Skanda or Murugan in South India. He is the god of war, bravery, and youth, often depicted with a spear and riding a peacock. Kartikeya is the vanquisher of demonic forces, the defender of dharma moral order. He is particularly revered in South India and among Tamils worldwide. Unlike his brother Ganesha, Kartikeya is a dynamic, fiery, and determined god, a symbol of righteous and courageous action. He teaches devotees the value of the inner struggle against weakness, as well as the importance of defending what is right in the world. A meaningful divine family. Shiva's family forms a perfect balance of spiritual forces. Shiva represents pure, silent, and transcendent consciousness. Parvati is vital, dynamic, and nurturing energy. Ganesha embodies wisdom and prosperity, while Kartikeya symbolizes strength, courage, and determination. Together, they form a model of familial and cosmic harmony, where each member plays a complementary role. This is not an ideal family in the Western sense of the term, but a spiritual allegory of how the different forces of the universe and the human soul interact to create balance, transformation, and awakening. To venerate this divine family is to connect with these fundamental energies present within each of us. It is to learn that wisdom, Ganesha, strength, Kartikeya, energy, Parvati, and consciousness, Shiva, are four essential pillars for living a fulfilling spiritual life at peace with oneself and the world.